But the debut album, Culling Culture, is 9 days away at time of recording.
Yes.
It must be very exciting to finally have the debut full length right around the corner.
Oh, it's because we were supposed to release this a long time ago, and then the pandemic hit, and it was just like, nope, you can wait even longer now. So for us, it's been like the slowest, longest wait. I think it's been nearly 2 years. So now we're just like chomping at the bit to get it out. We're so excited.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting time to release it as well, because obviously tours and that aren't happening, but venues are starting to reopen now. So in a strange way, you've kind of missed out on the worst of it with the time of release.
Yeah.
Then, like you say, you've been sat on it for 2 years, so it's hardly been a comfortable journey.
Yeah, it's worked out in that respect, because we feel like it's been the worst thing to happen, but then just as we're releasing it, things are starting to open up. So it's really bizarre. It's almost like it was meant to be. And even though it has been awful waiting this long, it's definitely, we've learned a lot from being able to just sit back and watch the album campaign and take our time with it instead of just doing it really fast. So we've learned a lot from it, and I think, growth in that respect, we've matured quite a lot, is worth all that time for sure.
Cool. It's funny where it's been in the can, so to speak, for a while. Then there's been videos released, free music videos plus other promotional stuff. It was almost surprising when I started researching the interview. I was like, oh shit, it's their first album. It feels like they've been around for ages.
Thank you.
That's all right. It's just almost getting to the point where it's like, what, you don't know Vexed? You're not a metal fan or so.
Thank you.
That's
it's so
right.
weird hearing people say that, because like yourself, we're just like trapped in these four walls. And like I've spoken to more people like in this last year than I ever have in my whole life, but I'm stuck at home. It's so weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, that's not too bad though. At least you're at a safe distance from weirdos like me.
Very true. Just joking.
Well, I think it was said in the press release as well that the title "Culling Culture" kind of comes from the whole cancel culture phenomenon, like a better word. Let me first make sure that that's correct before I further make an ass of myself.
No, that's it. Culture, and the name taken from that kind of phenomenon, or however you say it.
Yeah,
it was inspired by that.
So, how are you approaching that subject with this album?
So we kind of we tell people that although it was inspired by the whole cancel culture thing, it's not actually about cancel culture. It's about culling people from your own inner circle and your own life. So each song on the album is about an individual person that's like wronged me or done something awful to me in my life, and I've cancelled them from my life. And so instead of focusing on cancelling people that you don't know, or stressing yourself out about things that you have no control over in the world, focus on the people on your inner circle. And no matter if they're a family member or a close friend or relative, whatever, if they do nothing but bring you pain and negativity, get rid of them. That's kind of how we made it our own cancel culture. But in our group chat, if like we don't like somebody, like we kind of say like, I'll cull them, get rid of them. We don't mean it literally, just putting that out there. So that's kind of how it became Culling Culture, because it's our way of cleansing our own circle, so to speak.
Cool. That's a really interesting way to look at it as well, and I think it's also more relatable than the than cancel culture itself. Because everyone has that point where they have to go, look, mate, fuck off.
Yeah.
If you'll excuse my language.
No.
Good.
That you swear.
I always say to people they can say any word they want except the C word. Chelsea.
Don't worry, we won't say that word in this house. It's fine. But yeah,
that's a really interesting and a much more kind of personal way to really hit home with people, you know, especially for a new band, or at least so to speak, a new band.
Yeah.
It really does put a more intelligent point out there. You know? Lyrically, what other subjects are dealt with? Like you say, every song is kind of about someone in particular.
Yeah.
Well, I believe so, every song.
Yes, about an actual individual person who, and it's kind of like the story behind why I got rid of them or culled them. But then there are a couple of songs which are about mental health and anxiety. So Misery that came out is about that.
Yeah.
But that was because of all what these people have done. That's one of like the I suppose, I can't think of the word, it's a consequence of what they did to me, inspired Misery. So they're kind of connected in that way. So mental health is one thing. Obviously getting rid of people who bring you nothing but pain is another. And then we also focus on, it sounds really strange, but like self-belief, self-worth, like even though it's a really angry and quite dark album in places, the overall message is to just put yourself first and like love yourself ultimately.
Yeah, I did wonder if Epiphany was about that outlook.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the ones that you forgot, so thank you. Yeah, so Epiphany was inspired by the amount when Vexed first started and we released our first 2 songs without a label. I got so much hate online, and at this point I was not resilient. I couldn't, it wasn't the hate that I didn't cope with, because people are going to hate you regardless. It was like the personal attacks, so people calling me fat, ugly, untalented. I had death threats. I had people telling me I was stupid or unfuckable, like just awful things that like aren't even relevant to the music. And I was so, it really did my head in, and I wanted to quit music altogether. But Epiphany was inspired by how the boys taught me that nobody else's opinion of you fucking matters at all. Like it's completely irrelevant. And it's very easy to say that, but to actually believe that is a completely different ball game. But I do believe that now, and it was the most liberating thing in the world to just not care about what people think. And so yeah, that's where Epiphany came from, is sort of overcoming self-loathing.
Well done for you for overcoming it, and sorry for bringing it up.
No, it's a good thing to talk about, you know. I think everyone at some point has faced shitty people online, and it's important to remember that their opinion of you really doesn't matter.
This is it, you know. It used to be like people were really wary about things like chat rooms, and now you speak to strangers every day on the internet, and it's almost always super aggressive. It's never, I don't agree. It's
nobody, exactly, nobody's willing to kind of have a civilized conversation about their differences. It's just from one extreme to the other, and it's mad. It's like you wouldn't walk into somebody's front door and be like, fuck you, I don't like you. You wouldn't even walk into their front door in the first place, like. But on the internet, anything goes and there's no consequences for it, and it's mad. It's a crazy world.
Well, Epiphany is one of the songs you've done music videos for. You've also done for Hideous and, of course, Misery. I really like the videos because there's so much going on, you know. Like there's a lot of kind of, for lack of a less contradictory term, like dark neon going on in some of the videos. It reminds me of like films like Mandy or Neon Demon and these kinds of stuff, you know, which is stuff that I watch all day long anyway. So when videos are like that, I go, yeah, I like this band. I don't care for some of you. I like it.
Thank you. You'd probably love to talk to our videographer then, because he is like the biggest horror movie and like anything to do with that sort of thing. Like he's obsessed with it. And when we kind of sent him the songs, immediately was like, have you got a theme in mind? And we were like, no, we've got no idea where to take this, but we want it to be dark. And like, right, we're going to go down the horror movie route. And that's where all like the red lighting comes from, and the blood and the gore and everything. It's just completely his he's in his element basically, and it's the best thing filming music videos with him, because like there are no limits onto what we'll do. Like there's another video coming out in a few days, and I think it's the most extreme video that we could possibly do without breaking YouTube laws. So yeah, it was good fun though. We've really enjoyed doing them.
Nice. And you did a few videos before this album as well, if I remember rightly. I think you did one which had a guest on it. I'm very sorry, I can't remember who the guest was.
That's all right.
Unless it was a different Vexed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of been ingrained into you already, but which is great to have. And by the time you come around to releasing an album, all that kind of thing. And on that note, obviously you signed with Napalm for the album, and Napalm seems to be like the biggest rising metal labels at the moment. Like they're just behind Nuclear Blast almost.
Yes.
They've maybe even surpassed Century Media, although don't tell.
Yeah.
So how was it to sign with Napalm for your debut?
Absolutely. And it still hasn't sunk in, because everything kind of happened really, really fast. And then we were meant to go on tour and do all this stuff, and then we were just put into lockdown. It still hasn't properly sunk in, because we haven't been able to go out on tour and experience any of it properly. So it is really strange, but insanely cool. And when they sent us an offer, it was just like one of the weirdest moments ever. We were actually in the studio finishing the last song for the album, and they'd heard all of it bar that song. And yeah, we were just running around screaming for like 2 hours. We didn't play it cool in any way.
Nah. Shit, no one playing this song in case it puts them off.
Yeah.
No, it's great though, and it's so good as well to see like a young band come through on a big label, and because they are a big label now. And I'm no flag shagger, but it's nice to see a British band come up as well. So.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm not patriotic by any means.
No.
It is cool to be on a roster like that. Yeah. I
mean, you look at some of the other bands on there, like Ginger and Unleash the Archers, the Agonists? No, the Agonists.
I'm not sure. They have quite a few really cool bands. The main one for me was, when I was looking at the roster before we signed, was Wasp. Because my mum is the biggest Wasp fan, and I grew up listening to Wasp. So when I saw they were on there, I was just like, this is a full circle moment that nobody will ever be able to understand. But I was like, Mum, we're going to be on the same label as Wasp. So that was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of awesome, the artwork as well is very intriguing.
Thank you.
It's something that at first glance I can't quite wrap my head around it, but it seems very kind of Inferno, lots of reminds me of the Spawn comic books in a way.
Oh, cool.
I'm sure there's going to be about 50 Spawn fans going, fucking idiots, nothing like that. Yeah, that's when it's my turn to get abuse. So how much input did the band have with the artwork?
So sort of a little bit, but not a lot. We approached an artist called Rui. He's done work. He does a lot of merch work for huge bands, but he did some artwork for Loathe and for a single, I think, or some of merch. I can't remember. And we really liked it. And we messaged him and we were like, have you ever done album art? And he was like, no, but I'll give it a go. So we sent him the album and we were like, could you get a feel for it, listen to the music, and then kind of interpret it into visual? and we said to him we wanted it to be red, orange. We wanted it to be really aggressive, really in your face, aggressive, loud, and just violent. And there was one other version, I think, before he sent that, but it was like almost spot on the second he sent it. We were just like, that is perfect, it just represents everything. And so yeah, it's it'll also become a bit more clear, like with the next video that's coming out. We set a car on fire.
All right.
Randomly, and the album cover is a car on fire. So it kind of all connects eventually through the music videos. But it was definitely mostly him. We had a couple of inputs, but he's just amazing. I highly recommend checking out his Instagram. It's beautiful. And if you're like a band artwork nerd like I am, you'll really appreciate it. But yeah, Rui, he's so talented. I'd love to have his talent.
Well, it's cool though, and it's cool to have that connection straight away. You know, it's like when it comes around to doing the second album, then at least you've got someone in mind then.
Yes, definitely.
That has heard you and has understood the music.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. With it being 2 years since the album was recorded, have you already begun work on the sophomore release, or you're just trying to focus on this? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, it's really weird because obviously this album is like a time warp for us.
Yeah.
So hearing it come out and people experience it, even though we've kind of not moved on from it, that's the wrong choice of words, but like we've already lived through all that writing and recording, and we've listened to those songs so many times. Really weird having them come out, and then people react to them, but they're reacting to a really young us.
Yeah.
Now, like when we're writing, we've really found our feet and we feel more confident. So yeah, we've started writing for album 2, and it's slow at the moment because there's so much going on for Culling Culture. So we're trying to be carried away. But yeah, we're several songs in, and it's going really well. It's going to be a brutal one, I think.
Good. I mean, I would assume so, judging from what I've heard just from Culling Culture, because it's so weird, you know. Not that the music itself is weird, but trying to describe it is weird because, like, it's not quite death metal, it's not deathcore, it's not this, it's not that. But like you say, with the artwork, it's violent. It's violent music. In a strange way, it kind of reminds me of grime. Americans watching this won't understand what the fuck we're talking about, but trust me, you're not missing out. But it's but grime does have that like supreme aggression, and it's like a soundtrack to a mugging in a way. So, and I do kind of get that same vibe from Vexed so far.
Yeah,
those just have those punches basically.
That's so cool, and that's so funny. I'm gonna have to tell the boys that. That's perfect. Soundtrack to no, that's it. We're all, especially me, huge grime fans. Like we were on a drive to Norwich today because we decided to go out, and the whole way there we were blaring Stormzy, Lady Leisha, Skepta, and like there's more songs on the album vocally as well that take a lot of inspiration from grime. And so yeah, I don't think there's any such things as grime metal or grindcore, but
there is Hacktivist.
Yes, yeah. We've played with Hacktivist actually, and that was one of our favourite shows ever. So good. But yeah, so grime is a huge inspiration for us. But yeah, when it comes to putting us into a genre, I really don't know. Like you said, it's just angry, violent music.
It's quite cool as well to hear a new band that has that sound where you can't describe it. Because it's like I'm not disrespecting a lot of up and coming bands, because there's some really bloody good ones out there. You can just go, that's heavy metal, that's thrash metal, that's punk, that's whatever, that's whatever, that's whatever. And you get to Vexed and you go, what the fuck is this?
Thank you. Yeah.
Good.
No, that's really cool. And that's a really cool thing to hear as well, because when we were writing it, we didn't want to limit ourselves to just a genre. Like, we'd get to certain parts in songs and I'd be like, I really want to rap that bit, and our producer would just be like, okay. And it was if it felt right, we did it. We weren't kind of like, oh well, that's not very death metal. It was just, well, it needs more R&B, let's do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've just taken inspiration from here, there and everywhere, and it's really cool that people can hear that.
Good. Well, like you say, there's a new video coming. It's only next week that the album is out on the shelves. I'll have this video up before then, I swear to God.
That's all right.
And you've already begun work on the second one, although obviously that's going to take a little while. In the meantime, have you got any further plans to promote the album? You got a live stream show coming up, or are you starting to take festival bookings now?
It's really tricky with the bookings because of obviously the state of the world. We kind of get told you might have this, but we're not going to confirm it or announce it until we know for sure. So everything's really up in the air with the bookings, which is really sad, and it's probably the only thing that's making us a bit down at the moment, is because, like everyone, live shows is just why we do this. So not having that's been really hard, but we are definitely doing a live stream at some point. As soon as the album's out and we can relax a bit and don't have to worry about music videos anymore, we're gonna get our heads down and get a live stream sorted.
Cool.
So should be at some point, but yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Are you in London?
No, I'm in. Do you know Stevenage?
Yeah, I know Stevenage.
Yeah, we're near.
Not too well, but I know where it is.
Yeah, we're in that part of the world.
Okay.
Yeah, the arsehole of Hertfordshire area.
I'm from Swindon. I know all about shitholes. It's fine.
My apologies.
See, when someone from Stevenage is apologising for the state of your town, that tells you everything.
Yeah.
On that note, now that we've alienated all our neighbours, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me. I really do appreciate it, Megan.
You've taken an interest. It's been really, really good, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. And congratulations once again on creating something so undefinable and exciting.
Thank you so much. I can't wait for you to hear it.
Thank you. Nor can I, sir. Not a long wait now. So.
Yes. Yeah, not long.
Thank you very much. Bye now.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.